I thought I knew what love looked like. 5 years with Madison taught me what breakfast in bed felt like, what planning a future together meant, what trust was supposed to feel like. We were talking about engagement rings and mortgages. We were building something real, or at least I believed we were. Until one Friday night in September shattered everything I believed in. What I found that night changed me forever. Before I tell you how I discovered the truth, I want to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have ever had to walk away from someone you loved. Now let me take you back to when I still believed she was mine. I met Madison through mutual friends at a barbecue 4 summers before everything fell apart. She worked in marketing. I was an architect at a firm in Portland. The connection was instant. She laughed at my terrible jokes, and I loved how she talked about her work with genuine passion. Within 3 months, we moved in together. Within a year, I could not imagine my life without her. Our life together was simple, but beautiful. Saturday mornings meant farmers market runs and cooking elaborate breakfasts neither of us could really pull off. Summer evenings, we would drive out to the Columbia River Gorge and hike until sunset. We talked about everything. She knew my fear of ending up alone. I knew her dream of running her own agency someday. We fit together like puzzle pieces, completing each other's sentences and sharing the same vision of a quiet life in a house with a yard big enough for the dog we kept planning to adopt. By spring of that year, I was seriously looking at engagement rings. I had even talked to her father about proposing. We spent hours on real estate websites dreaming about homes in the suburbs with enough space for an office where I could work on freelance projects and a sunroom where Madison could read on weekend mornings. Everything felt right. Everything felt safe. The first crack appeared in July, but I was too trusting to see it for what it was. Madison started staying late at the office 2 or 3 nights a week. She told me about a new campaign her company was pitching, how demanding the client was, how the deadline kept getting tighter. I believed her because, why would I not? I even drove downtown a few times to bring her dinner at the office. She would meet me in the lobby, thank me with a quick kiss, and disappear back upstairs. I never thought to question it. August brought more changes. One morning I noticed she had changed her phone password. When I asked about it casually while we were having coffee, she explained that her company had implemented new security protocols after a data breach at a competitor. It made sense. Everything she said always made sense. But she also started keeping her phone face down on every surface, carrying it into the bathroom when she showered, sleeping with it under her pillow instead of on the nightstand like she used to. Our conversations grew thinner. She was tired more often, less interested in our weekend hikes. When I suggested we finally look at houses in person, she said we should wait until after her big project wrapped up. When I brought home wedding magazines as a joke, she barely glanced at them. The distance between us widened, but I told myself it was temporary. Work stress. Everyone goes through phases. We would get back to normal once things calmed down at her office. But things did not calm down. By early September, the woman I lived with felt like a stranger wearing Madison's face. She still said "I love you" before leaving for work, still kissed me goodnight, but there was a hollowness to it all. Like she was performing the motions of a relationship while her mind lived somewhere else entirely. I caught her smiling at her phone screen late at night, the glow illuminating a softness in her expression I had not seen directed at me in months. One evening, her phone rang at 11. She grabbed it quickly and stepped onto our apartment balcony, sliding the door shut behind her. Through the glass, I watched her pace back and forth, phone pressed to her ear. Her laugh carried faintly through the walls. It was light, musical, intimate, not the laugh she used for work calls with demanding clients and tight deadlines. When she came back inside 20 minutes later, her cheeks were flushed. "Just work stuff," she said. "You know how demanding this project is." I wanted to trust her. I wanted to be the kind of partner who did not question or doubt. But my gut kept screaming. Something was wrong. I started noticing other things. The way she smelled different sometimes when she came home, like cologne I did not wear. The way she angled her laptop screen away from me when I walked past. The way she stopped talking about her coworkers by name, referring to everyone generically as the team. Then came the Friday that changed everything. Madison told me she had to go on an overnight business trip to Sacramento. A face-to-face meeting with a potential client that could not be rescheduled. It struck me as odd because in 5 years she had never once traveled overnight for work. Her job was local campaigns, Portland businesses. But she kissed my cheek and said she would be back Saturday evening, and I nodded and told her to drive safe. That evening I sat alone in our apartment, feeling the weight of all those small wrong things pressing down on me. I tried to watch television, tried to read, but nothing could quiet the unease crawling under my skin. Around 9, I opened our shared laptop to find a document I needed for a work presentation Monday. Madison's email was still logged in. I was not snooping. I was not looking for anything. But then, I saw it. Her sent folder showed an email from 3 days ago. A hotel confirmation. Not in Sacramento. A boutique hotel 30 minutes outside Portland in a town I had never heard her mention. The reservation was for Friday night. Tonight. Check in at 3, check out at noon tomorrow. 1 room. King bed. My hands went numb. I read the email 3 times, hoping the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she had gotten the cities confused. Maybe there was a reasonable explanation. I was too stupid to see. I called Travis, my best friend since college. My voice shook as I explained everything. The late nights, the changed password, the mysterious trip, the hotel email that proved she was not in Sacramento. He listened without interrupting, and when I finished, he said what I already knew but was too afraid to admit. You need to know for sure, man. Do not torture yourself with maybes. I found the hotel address in the email confirmation. The rational part of my brain told me to stay home to confront her when she returned to ask for the truth like adults, but the rest of me needed to see it with my own eyes, needed proof that I was not crazy, that my instincts were not lying to me. So I grabbed my keys and drove. The hotel was small and expensive, looking the kind of place couples went for romantic getaways. I parked in the back corner of the lot where I had a clear view of the entrance. Sitting there in my car engine off, I felt pathetic. This was not who I was. I did not follow girlfriends or spy on people I loved, but the version of love I thought we had was already dead, was it not? I was just waiting for confirmation. At 6 o'clock, the hotel doors opened, and Madison walked out. My stomach dropped. She was not alone. A tall man in a crisp suit walked beside her, brown hair styled perfectly, confident stride. I recognized him from the company photo she had shown me months ago. Kyle, the new marketing director who joined her team in June. The one she said was helping with the big campaign. They stood close together outside the entrance, too close for coworkers, too comfortable for anything innocent. He said something that made her throw her head back, laughing. The laugh I used to think was just mine. They walked toward a coffee shop across the street, and I followed on foot, keeping enough distance that they would not notice me even if they turned around. But they never did. They were too wrapped up in each other. Through the coffee shop window, I watched them sit at a corner table. Kyle reached across and took her hand, his thumb stroking her knuckles in slow circles. Madison leaned forward, smiling in a way that made my chest crack open. She looked at him the way she used to look at me in those early days, when everything was new and perfect. Then Kyle stood, walked around the table, and kissed her. Not a quick peck. A real kiss, deep and slow and familiar. I stood frozen on the sidewalk, people walking past me, the world continuing like nothing had just ended. 5 years. 5 years of mornings and inside jokes and shared dreams turned into ash in the space of a single kiss. I did not feel angry. I felt hollow, empty. Like someone had reached inside and scooped out everything that made me feel human. I could have stormed in there, could have made a scene, demanded answers, asked her how she could do this. But what would be the point? The truth was right in front of me. She had made her choice, and standing there watching her with him, I made mine. I turned and walked back to my car. I would not beg. I would not scream. I would simply disappear. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. By the time I pulled into our apartment complex, a strange calm had settled over me. Crying would not change what I saw. Yelling would not undo her betrayal. The only thing I could control was what happened next. I sat in the dark living room for hours thinking. Madison would come home tomorrow evening and expect everything to be normal. She would kiss my cheek and ask about my day and crawl into our bed like she had not just spent the night with someone else. The thought made my skin crawl. I could not do it, could not pretend, could not sit across from her at breakfast and act like my heart was not shattered. So I called Travis again. He answered on the first ring. I need a place to stay, I said. He did not ask questions. Just said his spare room was mine for as long as I needed it. Then he said something that stuck with me. She does not deserve your pain, man. She does not deserve closure. I realized he was right. Madison gave up the right to my emotions when she gave herself to someone else. Sunday morning, I waited until she left the apartment. She kissed my forehead before walking out the door, told me she loved me, promised we would spend the whole day together when she got back from her fake business trip. I said okay. I watched her drive away. Then I got to work. First, I called my bank and opened a new account, transferring my half of our shared savings. Then I went to the phone store and changed my number. By Monday morning, I had taken the day off work and was packing my things while Madison was at her office. I did not take much. Clothes, books, my laptop, a few photos from before everything went wrong. I left the furniture, left the kitchen stuff we had bought together, left everything that tied me to the life we had built. On the kitchen table, I placed my key to the apartment. No note, no explanation. She would understand soon enough. Then I blocked her number, her email, every social media account. I erased her from my phone like she never existed. By the time she came home from work that evening, I was already at Travis's place, unpacking boxes in a room that was not mine, starting a life I had not planned. My phone, the new one she did not have the number to, stayed silent.